Good morning, everyone, and welcome to lesson number 4 in our live lesson series for the middle school grades. My name is Mrs. Jones, and I am so excited that we are all together today as we continue working on our Gold Rush and Moon essays. Now, this is the very first time you are joining us. Welcome. We're so excited that you're here. When you have time, you may find it beneficial to go back to lesson number 1 in this series, where we began talking about the writing process. We analyzed our prompts, looked over the text sets, and we planned for our essays. Now, the last 2 times we met, we began writing these text-based informative or expository essays. We began by writing our introduction paragraph. So let's take a moment and briefly refresh our memories about what our plan is about and what we wrote for our introduction paragraph. I'm going to go ahead and switch to our document camera. Excellent. So in our previous lessons, we planned for our prompt. And remember, your prompt is write an expository essay about the history of gold in California. So we're writing for the purpose of informing or teaching our reader about the history of gold. So the central idea, what the prompt told us to write about, is what we write next to I and C. The 3 main topics we want to write about in our essay are T1, where gold comes from, our T2, that's our second topic, the 49ers, and our T3, our third topic, is about the businesses that grew during this time. So this I, T1, T2, T3, and TC plan is called an ITC outline. And we learned that this is how we plan for a text-based informative or expository essay. Now, in the last few lessons, we focused on writing the very first paragraph of our essay, which is the introduction. And we talked about how there are so many different ways you can structure an introduction paragraph. We chose one very simple, easy to follow structure for our introduction, since it was our very first one. The introduction structure that we learned is to begin our paragraph with a hook. Now, that's a sentence that's designed to grab your audience's attention, to hook your reader, and make them want to read more. Then we wrote a 3-topic sentence. Now, this is where we clearly stated our central idea, what the whole essay is about, and then the 3 main topics that we will be writing about. So if you think back to your plan, that would be your T1, your T2, and your T3. Finally, we ended our introduction with a closing statement. And this is just like it sounds. It's one sentence about the main idea of our whole essay, and it just brings our introduction to a nice, satisfying close. It summarizes what this introduction was about, helps to transition our reader into the middle paragraphs. So we learned how to write a 3-sentence introduction paragraph. It has a hook, a 3-topic statement, and a closing. And here you can see our example clearly color-coded so that you can see which sentence is which. Now, today we are going to start talking about the next part of our essay, which are the middle paragraphs. So that's going to be your T1, your T2, and your T3 paragraph. Now, this is really the heart of your essay. This is where most of the information is going to be written. So we are going to spend several lessons talking about these middle paragraphs. Today, we're going to talk about what type of information goes into a middle paragraph. We're going to talk about how to structure these middle paragraphs so that our information and our writing is organized and logical and presented in a way that is very easy for our reader to understand. Because remember, our purpose is to inform our reader or teach them. So we want them to be able to understand the information that we are including in our essay. So let's go ahead and start talking about middle paragraphs. Now, if you have a writing folder or a notebook where you're keeping all of your materials for these live lessons, you may find it helpful to jot down some notes right now. I'm going to jot down for you the structure of a middle paragraph. You may want to copy what I'm writing because sooner than you think, you're going to be writing your own middle paragraphs, and it may be helpful for you to have some notes to refer to. So just go ahead and grab a blank piece of paper if you have one handy, and if you don't, that's okay. And let's start talking about our middle paragraphs. Now remember, these are your T1, T2, and T3 paragraphs. Now, all of these paragraphs are going to be about different things, right? Our T1 topic is totally different than our T3 topic. But even though we're writing about different things, we are going to set up or structure these paragraphs in the same way. So once you learn the structure of a middle paragraph, you will always know how to set up every middle paragraph you write in a text-based informative or expository essay. So the very first sentence that we're going to include is called a topic sentence. Have you ever heard of that before? Topic sentence? I bet you have. A topic sentence is the very first sentence in a middle paragraph. This is where you introduce your reader to the topic of what that paragraph is. So what that whole paragraph's about. Now there's 3 parts to a topic sentence, and today we're going to practice writing those. So we will circle back to topic sentences in just a moment. Returning to the structure of a middle paragraph though, after we write a topic sentence, we're going to write 4 to 6 sentences about our A subtopic, and then 4 to 6 sentences about our B subtopic. So let's look back at our plan and let's discuss where we're going to get the information for all of these sentences. So the topic sentence, that's going to come from what you wrote next to T1, T2, or T3, because this is where we wrote the main topic of the paragraph. Then after our topic sentence, we're going to write 4 to 6 sentences about our A subtopic. So our A subtopic for T1 is nuggets. So I'll write 4 to 6 sentences about nuggets. After that, we're going to write 4 to 6 sentences about our B subtopic. So if we look at our T1 plan, our B subtopic is panning. So after we write a topic sentence and 4 to 6 sentences about nuggets, then we're going to write 4 to 6 sentences about panning for gold. And there's one more sentence that we're going to put in each middle paragraph, and that is called a wrap-up sentence. Now, a wrap-up sentence is where you wrap up the paragraph. It is a summary sentence. It's where you remind your reader what this entire paragraph was about. So if you could, for just a moment, I want you to use your imaginations. Close your eyes for me and picture a cheeseburger. Can you see it? All right. So we see a top bun, and then we see the middle where we have the bun and the cheese and the lettuce and the tomato and the onions and the pickle and the ketchup and the mustard. And then we have the bottom bun, right? I want you to think of your middle paragraphs like a cheeseburger. The top bun is like your topic sentence. The bottom bun is like your wrap-up sentence. Your topic sentence and your wrap-up sentence are very similar to one another. They are both going to discuss the main idea of that paragraph. Now, if you can picture that cheeseburger, the top bun doesn't look exactly the same as the bottom bun, does it? If I had 2 buns side by side, I could tell the difference. Well, your topic sentence and your wrap-up sentence are not going to sound identical. We are going to use different words in our wrap-up sentence when we restate the topic or when we summarize what the paragraph was about. We're not just going to copy the topic sentence. So the topic sentence and the wrap-up are very similar, but they're not identical. Now, picture the middle of that cheeseburger. That's where all the good stuff is, right? That's the biggest, fattest part of the burger. Well, your A and B sentences are like the middle of a cheeseburger. That's where all the good stuff is. You're going to write 8 to 12 sentences in the middle of each paragraph that is going to be full of content-rich information, specific information for your reader. Do you have that visual in your head of a cheeseburger? Excellent. So every time you think of a middle paragraph, I want you to picture a cheeseburger, and that will help you remember the different parts of a middle paragraph. Okay, so go ahead and open your eyes. Now let's talk about how many sentences approximately will each middle paragraph be. Well, if you, let's say, write 4 sentences about A and 4 sentences about B, then you'll have 1, 4, 4, and 1. That is 10 sentences. What if you write 6 for A and 6 for B? Well, then that's 12 A and B sentences plus 1 and 1 is 14. So every middle paragraph is going to be approximately 10 to 14 sentences in length. That's a lot of writing, isn't it? Don't worry, I'm going to teach you how to write these paragraphs 1 sentence at a time. So we'll learn together. Right now, what we need to remember is that this is the structure of a middle paragraph, and our goal is to make each middle paragraph 10 to 14 sentences in length. Now let's take a look at an example essay. This is going to be about the gold rush, and it is color-coded by structure. So I know it's a little blurry, but don't worry, I don't want you to read this essay right now. Right now, all I want you to do is to look at the colors. So the very first paragraphs in black and white, that's the introduction. We're not worrying about that. Let's take a look at the next paragraph. This is T1. The second middle paragraph, which is T2, and the third middle paragraph, which is T3. Now, if you notice, every middle paragraph begins with a red sentence. That is your topic sentence. Do you see how it's only one sentence in length? Because your topic sentence is only one sentence. Now, after that, in blue, we see our A sentences. So let me go ahead and color or label this for you. I'm just going to abbreviate TS as topic sentence. Blue is your A sentences. Green are your B sentences. Let's look at T2. Topic sentence in red. 4 to 6 sentences about our A subtopic in blue. 4 to 6 sentences about our B subtopic in green. Let's look at T3. Topic sentences in red. 4 to 6 A in blue. 4 to 6 B in green. Do you see how the structure of each middle paragraph is the same? Topic sentence, AB. Topic sentence, AB. Topic sentence, AB. Now, this essay doesn't have that very last part of a paragraph, a wrap-up sentence, because that hasn't been added yet. But don't worry, we will learn how to do that together. So here we see an essay that has been color-coded by structure to show you that the structure of a middle paragraph is the same, whether we're writing our T1, our T2, or our T3. Now, let's go back to our notes for a second. Let's talk about these A and B sentences. We're writing 4 to 6 sentences about A and 4 to 6 sentences about B. Are you wondering what you're going to write for these sentences? If you are, that's a great question. These sentences are going to be a mixture of evidence from the text and your own thoughts and ideas about the evidence. So we're going to add evidence from the text, and then we're going to talk about it. Add some more evidence, and then we're going to talk about it. So these 4 to 6 sentences for A and 4 to 6 sentences of B are either going to be quotes. Now that's where we're going to copy sentences and information from the sources directly into our essay using quotation marks. Or it's going to be paraphrased evidence. That's where we're including evidence from the text, but we're going to put it in our own words. We're not just going to copy it. So either it's going to be evidence or it's going to be our own thoughts and ideas. So we'll write 4 to 6 sentences about A. That's going to be a mixture of quotes about our A subtopic, paraphrased information about our A subtopic, and our own thoughts and ideas about our A subtopic. We're going to do the same thing for B. Now, we are going to learn how to write each part of a middle paragraph together. We're going to talk about how to quote and talk about how to paraphrase, talk about how to share our own thoughts and ideas. So don't worry if you don't know how to do any of these things. I promise we're going to learn together. But this is the complete structure of a middle paragraph. So now we know what our end goal is for each of these very important middle paragraphs. So now I want to show you another example. I'm going to show you an essay about the gold rush, like the same one that we just saw, but it's color-coded a bit differently. Now it's color-coded by what we like to call elaborative technique. Quotes, paraphrases, and own thoughts and ideas are elaborative techniques. So let's take a look at this essay. Again, here we have our introduction that's in black and white. We're not going to worry about that. We're going to look specifically at T1, T2, and then this is the beginning of T3, which is continued onto this second page. All right, so let's look at this essay right now, and I don't want you to read it. Isn't that a silly thing for a teacher to say? Don't read it, but I don't want you to read it. I just want you to look at the colors. Okay, everywhere you see blue, so blue, 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 blue. This is information that has been copied directly from the sources. These are quotes. So anywhere you see blue is quoted evidence. Anywhere you see green is paraphrased evidence. So the blue and the green, everywhere you see it, that is evidence from the text. If it's blue, it's evidence that's been quoted. If it's green, it's evidence that's been paraphrased. Everywhere you see pink is the writer's own thoughts and ideas about the essay. So the writer is sharing what they think, what they feel about the evidence. Sometimes this is where they're making an inference. Sometimes they're drawing a conclusion or making a connection or inferring the cause or the effect or talking about why the evidence is so important. But regardless, the pink is information that comes from the writer's own brain. That is their own thoughts and ideas about what they've read. So let's just look at these colors for a moment. Now, when you look at this essay as a whole, and let me see if I can show you page 1 and page 2 at the same time. Page 1 and page 2. Would you say there's about the same amount of blue, pink, and green in the essay as a whole? Or do you think there's more of one color than the other? There's about the same, isn't there? That is what our goal is for writing a text-based essay. We want to write an essay that is balanced, that has about the same amount of quotes, paraphrases, and own thoughts and ideas in it. We don't want to write an essay that's all quoted evidence and just 1 or 2 paraphrases and 1 or 2 own thoughts and ideas. We also don't want to write an essay that's all of our own thoughts and ideas and only a little bit of evidence. We want to balance our use of quotes, paraphrases, and own thoughts and ideas. So that's why if you look at this essay as a whole, there's about the same amount of blue, pink, and green. But let's look at each particular paragraph. Let's look at T1, for example. Here I have 2 quotes, 1 paraphrased piece of information, and 2 own thoughts and ideas. Now, if I look at T2, I've got 2 paraphrases, 2 quotes, 2 own thoughts and ideas. Is there the exact same amount of quotes, paraphrases, and own thoughts and ideas in T1 as there is in T2? No. T1 only has 1 quote, T2 has 2 quotes. What if we compare T2 to T3? So T2 has 2 quotes, 2 paraphrases, 2 own thoughts and ideas. T3 has 1 quote, 2 quotes. They have 1, 2, 3 paraphrases, and 1, 2, 3 own thoughts and ideas. So T3 has a different amount of quotes, paraphrases, and own thoughts and ideas than T2 does. Do you think that's okay? It is. There is no magic number of quotes, paraphrases, and own thoughts and ideas that you have to have in every paragraph. If paragraph 2 has 2 own thoughts and ideas and paragraph 3 has 3, that's fine. If paragraph 1 only has 1 quote and paragraph 2 has 2 quotes, that's okay too. If paragraph 1 only had 1 paraphrase piece of evidence and T3 had 3 pieces of paraphrased evidence, that's okay too. You don't have to have the exact same amount of each elaborative technique in every single paragraph. What you want to think about is zooming out, looking at your essay as a whole. As a whole, is your essay balanced? If as a whole, you can say, yeah, my essay has about the same amount of quotes, paraphrases, and own thoughts and idea, then you did an excellent job of balancing your use of elaborative techniques. So don't get caught up in thinking, I need a certain number of each in every middle paragraph. Okay, so now that we talked about the 3 types of elaborative techniques, we talk about balancing our use. We want to make sure we're not overusing one type or ignoring another. Now let's look at how they're used. I want you to notice that everywhere you see pink, it comes after blue or green. So here we see green and blue and then pink, and then green and then pink, blue and green and pink, green and blue and pink, blue and green and pink. Do you see how the pink always comes after the blue or the green? You never see pink first, right? That's because the pink, just to remind you, is the writer's own thoughts and ideas. Well, your own thoughts and ideas always have to be about the evidence. So first you have to include some evidence, and then you can say what you think about it. Here's how it goes wrong if you don't do it in that order. If you share your own thought and idea first, then you're sharing your own thought and idea about something in your own personal life or about something that is not related to what you read. Your own thought and idea always needs to come after the evidence because your own thought and idea is always about the evidence. Does that make sense? So first evidence and then own thought and idea. All right, here's something else I want to point out to you. Whenever you see blue or green, remember that's evidence from the text. So that information came from where? It came from the sources, right? So we have to give credit to the place where that information is from. Now that is called either referencing your sources or citing your sources. You need to include either a reference or a citation, depends on what you want to call it, in your essay anytime you quote or paraphrase information. So let's take a look. Here we see paraphrased information in green. And here's a reference or a citation. Then we have quoted evidence in blue with a reference or a citation. The pink is the writer's own thoughts and ideas. Do we need to include a reference or a citation with your own thought and idea? Nope, because it's yours, right? Didn't come from the sources. We are only going to cite or reference when the information comes from the sources. So in green, we see paraphrased evidence, and there's a citation. In blue, we see paraphrased evidence. There's a citation. In green, we don't see one. Well, actually, we kind of do. It says states the same source because this paraphrased information came from the same place that the quote did. So anytime we include evidence from the text, we must say where it's from. And the way that we say where it's from is by including a reference or a citation. And we're going to talk a lot more in our future lessons about how we reference our sources or cite our sources. There's several ways to do it. Right now, we just want to remember if we quote or paraphrase, we must cite or reference our source. All right, everyone. So I hope that this just gave you a really good idea of how we are going to be structuring our middle paragraphs and how we are going to be balancing our use of elaborative techniques, quotes, paraphrases, and own thoughts and ideas. Now, before I leave you today, I want to show you one more thing. All right. I want to show you how to write a topic sentence. And I'm just going to go ahead and do it on the same piece of paper. Now, a topic sentence, and you can jot this down too if you'd like, is going to have 3 parts to it. A topic sentence is going to have a transition word or a transitional phrase. And I'll put a little plus sign. It's going to mention the central idea of the essay. Now, remember, the central idea is the prompt. And the topic sentence is going to mention the topic of that specific paragraph. So whatever T1 is about, or T2 or T3. So these are the 3 parts of a topic sentence. And I'm going to quickly model writing one for you. So let's go back to our Gold Rush essay. We have our introduction paragraph. So I'm going to write my topic sentence for T1. So I'm going to clearly indent. I'm going to start my second paragraph, my T1 paragraph, right where that little dot is. So I need a transition word to begin T1. Well, T1 is my first paragraph. So I could use a very simple, basic transition word, such as first. Now, you may know more advanced transitions, and if you do, that's wonderful. In future lessons, we will talk about how to use more advanced transitions. But for right now, let's just keep it very simple. So if we look at our little cheat sheet here we made on our notes, we need a transition word. Check, we did that. We wrote first. Now we need to mention our central idea and the topic. So what's our central idea? Gold. What's our topic? Where gold comes from. Okay, so let's make sure that we mention both of those things? What if we said first, getting gold from the earth can be quite a process. All right, so here is where I am introducing my reader to the T1 paragraph. T1 is going to be all about where gold comes from, right? Now notice I didn't write first where gold comes from. I didn't just copy exactly what I wrote on my plan. Instead, I used different words to say the same thing. First, getting gold from the earth can be quite a process. Now, my reader knows from this topic sentence that this whole paragraph is going to be about how people get gold, right? And that is the purpose of a topic sentence. So I'm going to challenge you all today at the end of this lesson to go ahead and write your own topic sentence for the Gold Rush essay. Your plan may be identical to mine. And if so, then you're going to write a topic sentence about where gold comes from. Or your plan might be different. You might have chose different topics to write about, and that's okay. Then your topic sentence is going to be about whatever your T1 topic is. All right, so everyone go ahead, write your own unique topic sentence now. You did a great job today, and I will see you next week when we continue talking about middle paragraphs. Have a great rest of your day.